I have a friend who has $3 billion. And when I was in my house looking up at the sky saying I didn't have enough money to buy a cheeseburger, he wouldn't help me.
What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to Grin. Today I have an insane video for you all. This man was given $110 million from some investors in order to build this giant freaking compound. It's a 100,000 plus square foot house at the top of Bel Air. It's got a view of all of LA, and let's just say nobody wants to buy it because he put a whopping $500 million price tag on it. And you know, the market for buyers in that point is very small, and I don't think Zuckerberg is looking for a new giant mega mansion at the top of the hills. But I mean, regardless of that, we're about to watch this man absolutely be in a manic state this entire interview. He's getting interviewed talking about this house and the project itself. I'm sure you guys have seen this and you recommended it. Cody Code just made a giant video about the house tour itself. Today I'm more talking about this interview because that's where the true insanity lies, when you start to hear this man sit down and talk about his ideas. So without any further ado, I don't want to give too much away. Let's just meet this guy. His name is Niall, and let's hear what he thinks about this giant house.
Well, I think that I have something very, very exciting, and I believe that I don't have this by chance. I believe that I was always meant to be able to create this house. When we first tried to pull a permit for this house.
So sorry I gotta abruptly cut off his speech, but if I don't edit that way, I mean, this man speaks in incredibly long tangents. It's just like a continuous run-on sentence with this dude, which is an attribute of his mountains of, baking soda usage, if you get what I mean. This dude just has to be rolling in that stuff like Scarface because he is moving from topic to topic and he has some grandiose ideas. Talk about a freaking God complex. He's like, I believe I was put on this earth to make this $100 million house. And I believe I was here for a reason. There would not be 100,000 plus square foot mansion here without me. All right, it was chosen. Like, all right, calm down, dude. You're lucky these idiots gave you that large amount of money, even though you have a track record of failing with your projects. I mean, I've done some research on this dude. He's been pretty sketchy in the past, so I'm not sure who just decided to hand him $110 million, but that's their mistake at this point because this house is not being sold.
The house is called The One Bel Air, and my show is called The One. And between those two, I think that we have the ability to really change the world in a very positive way.
So this dude claims, and he's going to be making this claim multiple times throughout this video, that this house and this project overall is going to change the world, because that's exactly what we needed, especially after the rough year of 2020. You know, it feels like the whole world's pretty much on fire at this point. So what we all needed is a singular house built at the top of Bel Air with, you know, just 115,000 square feet. It's got its own nightclub under it. It literally is a property they would offer to sell you on GTA Online. And speaking of that, both the interviewer and this guy himself look like they're just ripped out of the next version of GTA. Like, this must be a leaked cutscene or something, because it feels so much like a parody and a farce of just the luxurious lifestyle and just ridiculousness of LA. I love ProducerMichael, the guy that's doing this interview. I personally do watch his videos, but I mean, it is a little bit overboard sometimes, his drip, you know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, we get it, you're rich. But nevertheless, let's just keep watching and let's hear his answer as to how this house is somehow gonna change the world, because that's a really big freaking claim to be making.
All of the venues around the world have been either shut down or dramatically altered. There is nowhere in the world really where you can go for a venue like you used to have, like a big boxing match or the Academy Awards or the Grammys.
Wait, so his plan to change the world is he's just gonna host the freaking Grammys and a Jake Paul boxing match in his front yard? That's how he's gonna change the world? Are you freaking kidding me, dude? Like, this guy is obsessed with just having a party at this space, and it makes sense, you know? It's got its own 50-car garage and just an outside parking lot with a shuttle that goes up to this place so that, you know, you can host just this mega super spreader event if you want. But there's a reason, you know, events aren't really happening like that right now, but it's not to say that they're never going to happen again in the future. And even if they do happen at this place and you invite, you know, I don't know, the 500 people that can fit at this house and have a boxing match, I don't think anyone's gonna pay any mind outside of LA, and I really don't think it's gonna be changing the world. So this dude has his head so far up his butt, I don't even think he can see straight right now, bro.
A show that everyone will want to watch and identify with because it stars me. I live in the house, and I live in the house with people that I love, and we do crazy things and have crazy parties, but we also help the world in so many different ways.
We help the world in so many different ways, and I'm not even gonna waste time and name a single way, you know, not even a single example, because I can't really think of one, but trust me, there are about 100,000 different ways that I'm helping the world with this house. That's basically how this dude sounds. Also, in the beginning of that clip, he's talking about this idea for a show he wants to do alongside, you know, just owning and operating this property, since no one else is really in the market to buy it, and he listed it about $400 million too expensive, somehow expecting someone to just hand him $500 million. But yeah, while he's here, he's gonna film a show, and just everyone's gonna connect with it, because when I see this guy, I just see myself. You know, I'm out here rocking some $3,000 shades, sitting inside one of my 4 living rooms that also just has a seamless transition into the outside and a beautiful panoramic view of all of LA. So I really do resonate with this guy, and I think I would tune into that show every freaking week.
We are creating gigantic boxing matches right in the grass with the world championship boxers that you could ever imagine.
Wait, he's gonna have a boxing event in his front yard with the world champion event boxers that I could ever imagine? Really? Just kidding, I don't actually know what he meant by that sentence because it didn't really make sense grammatically, but I'm guessing he means he's trying to get, you know, just the world's best boxers out here on the grass. And because of that, you know, it's one of those if you build it, they will come type things. You know, there will be a few steps in between, people will come watch it, and then the world, boom, is changed forever because of this guy. So I do see the vision, man. I'm rocking with it, and I definitely would try to pull up to that event. I mean, I would love to see Jake Paul knock out, you know, just subpar MMA fighter that has never really boxed that much in your front lawn. That would be my biggest dream.
And they're going to have a good time again in an event the way that it used to be, but way better than it ever was, because we have the energy from the city and we have the energy from this house.
Can I put myself down for a front row seat?
Yeah, you can. They'll be 35,000 to 40,000 each, but you can.
Ouch!
Whoa, bro, like this dude's such a cheapskate. He's saying that he's gonna be changing the world with this event, and you know, he's gonna be doing all this charity. And then when producer Michael, the man who made this 2-part series on him that's gotten like 8 million views total, like a lot of freaking promotion for this guy, he just asked for a ticket, and he's like, oh yeah, you could definitely get one. It'll be $35,000 to $40,000, but you could definitely get one, bro. I mean, it'd be awesome. Like, if that isn't a person scrounging for any amount of cash they can find, I don't know what is. This dude needs a break at this point, man. He's down bad.
When money comes down like that, I'm gonna go into the city. And I'm gonna go into East LA and Beverly Hills, and I'm going to make people's dreams come true, because I'm gonna see and read people, and anyone that's good, that has a real idea that they've never had the chance, I'm gonna give them a 3-page contract, and I'm gonna put all of the responsibility on them to report back to me. And that exact day, without lawyers, I'm gonna write how much I own to their company, and I'm gonna write them a check and give it to them, and I will only be able to do it with pay-per-view that comes to us. And with that, the whole entire world will change. And I really believe that.
I'm lost, bro. You lost me. I mean, I was confused already when you were talking about this pay-per-view operation and all this like trickle-down economics, bro. I don't know anything about finances. Obviously, you're a master because you're sitting in this giant house, but his plan apparently is to host boxing matches, make a ton of money for the pay-per-view, and then go to various areas of LA, listen to people's insane ideas, and hand them checks. Like I said, the inner workings of this man's mind are quite insane, and this dude just has an incredibly odd life. And I mean, he shows a little bit of gaps of that in the tour. I said I wasn't going to show any tour footage, but I will show a couple clips. There's one where he talks about his plans for the bathroom that I'm going to show here, so check this out. It's quite weird.
These are the urinals, and I'm gonna have cameras here looking at the guys.
You're gonna have cameras?
Cameras looking at the guys putting the image in the girls' bathroom. Out of the box thinking.
I don't know what that means, that idea of his. It sounds pretty illegal, to be completely honest. And I don't know who would want that, you know? No one's going into the women's bathroom thinking, man, I wish we had a view of those guys that just creep us out, just to make sure they're over there in their bathrooms, you know? But the other thing is, he also has a very troubled love life recently, which has to be a frustrating thing as you're currently $110 million in debt. But he found someone about 8 months ago, fell in love with them, proposed to them after a couple weeks, and then unfortunately between then and now they've gotten a divorce. So he's living life, you know, just at 1,000 miles an hour. I don't blame this guy. When you're this rich and successful, you got to, you know.
My ex that I met 8 months ago. I'm married. It didn't work out because she's from Argentina. She doesn't listen to me, blah, 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 blah. But it's still hard to see because we were like soulmates, like deeper connection that you could ever imagine. So,
but yeah, he's he's still pretty hurt about that breakup.
After 3 events in this house, the valuation of this company, not the house, this company, will be $3 to $6.5 billion. That's bigger than Twitter.
Holy cow, this dude's got it figured out. I mean, I didn't realize you could just create a few billion that easy, but all you gotta do is make a mega mansion, host 3 boxing matches, and then boom, your company's worth bigger than Twitter. This man is living in the clouds, and I say that because he's at the top of the hills and he's obviously touching them with his head, because this is just full-on delusions of grandeur at this point, and I'm surprised that producer Michael isn't interjecting or, you know, cutting him off at some point. He's just letting him ramble on. I guess he probably understands that this mental breakdown on camera pretty much is going to be good content. Like, this guy's losing it.
I couldn't sell a house. Then COVID came, I couldn't sell a house. Until finally the point I ran out of money. And this house, I was just notified, has a notice of default placed against it. But I am 100% positive this is going to resolve itself, not only for me, because I've worked for 10 years of my life on this, but for the people of the world.
You hear that? The world needs this to work out. He has a default notice on his door, meaning the bank's about to foreclose on him and he might lose the house. And whatever idiots loaned him this $110 million are most likely never getting their money back. But you know what? It's gonna work out because it took 10 years of his life and good things happen to good people. And this is a good guy, okay? Like, he's just, he's almost on the verge of tears talking about this. I would be too. I would honestly not even be doing this interview. At this point, I'd be trying to figure out an escape plan. You know, I'd be flying to Cuba or something, bro. But he's determined this is gonna work. All he needs is those 3 boxing matches and boom, he's got some billions.
And the most important thing, we are going to teach the world about sustainability through my show, through all kinds of the latest technology like holograms.
I mean, how many different ideas has this guy gone over in the past like 10 minutes of them talking? It's got to be 1,000 different things that's bouncing around throughout his head. Now he's talking about holograms all of a sudden and TVs that link together and, you know, virtual sharks so that you don't have to take sharks from the ocean. His big thing with this as well, his other push, is sustainability and, you know, not being wasteful, because that's exactly what I think of when I look at this massive house that you made. That's, you know, big enough to be 100 different houses. You're definitely worried about the environment and not being wasteful, my guy, and I'm totally with you.
I want to say one other thing. I have so much to say, but let me just say one other thing. I am going to buy this plane that I call the God plane, and it is gigantic.
The God plane?
God plane. And I'll tell you why. Because I have a lot of friends who are billionaires.
Now he's flexing the billionaire friends, which, dude, yeah, well, you can imagine you have billionaire friends because no one just gets a $110 million loan with your track record for nothing. Obviously, you're surrounded by rich people that don't know how to spend the ridiculous amount of money they make. But now he's getting on this idea of his God plane, which is this massive jet he wants to make. That's also going to help, you know, reduce emissions in the world. He's going to be able to store all the billionaires on this plane, and everyone's going to be chartering from, you know, airport to airport in this God plane of his.
Well, I have a friend who has $3 billion. And when I was in my house looking up at the sky saying I didn't have money to buy a cheeseburger, he wouldn't help me. And I decided right then, that's never going to happen to anybody that I see that I trust that's a good person.
He got a little emotional there. We saw some tears coming out from Niall as he talks about his billionaire friend that would not buy him a cheeseburger. I would be absolutely dying if I was sitting here interviewing this dude. Also, with your charitableness, what happened to that when producer Michael asked for a ticket to the boxing event earlier? You just hit him with a $35,000 price tag and you don't even know who's gonna be boxing yet, bro. Like you're just as bad as the billionaire that didn't buy you a McDouble and made you cry.
Well, because my plane has lounges and it has living rooms and it has bedrooms, and I am going to, through a lotto system or through my own eye, pick different people to come on that plane only one way.
Why specify that, you cheap ass? What is going on, bro? Oh, so he's just gonna build this god plane with multiple bedrooms and, you know, lounges. I have no idea how this thing's gonna get off the ground, but it is going to be a technological feat, much like his hologram Michael Jackson that's gonna be performing on his front yard. But he says he's just gonna make this lottery and change people's lives with a one-way flight in his god plane, where they can just enjoy, I don't know, being in the world's biggest plane for about 5 hours until they get dropped off somewhere else with no return flight. Yeah, dude, you're really changing the world.
So exciting. I mean, so I had no idea what you were going to say, but this is so exciting.
There's so much more to come. This is just like the pin.
I'm sure there is so much more to come. I'm sure if you just gave this guy free access, he could legitimately fill up your SD card in an afternoon so quickly by just rambling on and on about his various ridiculous ideas that will never come to fruition. He's lucky if this house even gets bought. I'll update you guys with another video if he ends up going bankrupt or something. Like, who knows what's about to happen? The pressure is on because the people who loaned him this $110 million are getting impatient, obviously. That's a large chunk of money to be misplaced, and this dude, safe to say, fumbled the bag. No one's gonna buy this for $500 million, but if you're interested and you're in the market for something of that price, he does have a Google Docs form that you can fill out if you want to have an inquiry. So make sure you go over there if you just have a spare, you know, 100 milli you want to drop on some Bel Air real estate. Let me know what you thought of this video down in the comments below. Let me know if you think this dude is legit and his ideas are gonna change the world. I definitely have faith in him, and I think you should too. So I guess that about does it for today's video. Expect a Big Ed video up next later this week. Thank you so much for the continued support, and thank you so much for 600K. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, as well as hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, peace out.